like, or when you're sleeping, dude, and you want to nap, dude, like you have like, you can like switch it up, clear it, and then put it all away and like go to sleep. Okay, so
welcome back, guys, to First Place. We are here with another episode of In the Driver's Seat, and today I have a special guest with me. He is the owner and creator of Borglo, and I'm also wearing one of the t-shirts. Welcoming Brandon. How's it going, Brandon?
Thank you. Oh, good, man. How about yourself? You doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing good, good. Thank you for stopping by and, doing this, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's been a privilege to actually be one of the first to get an interview with you, especially with your amazing M3. And dude, it's a really good spot. Lighting's fantastic right now too. Weather's good. Yeah, we're being chilling right now.
So, tell me how it all began. I've known you for a while, and kind of out of nowhere, you told me you were gonna start making t-shirts. And more clothing. So, tell me how that began.
Yeah, wow, that's a deep story. How far do you want to go back?
Let's start at your creative inception. Like, what really started it all?
I see. I think creative wise, when I go in terms of creating something, it's the biggest thing is finding something that I can't find necessarily in the market or the way that I want it. I think oftentimes it's an intersection of both when I go into creating a piece, because I feel like if I find something in the market that fits everything that I want with the price as well, then I typically won't want to really remake something. However, if I see like, oh man, I really wanted it like this, or like I really want it like that, but I couldn't find it somewhere without having to spend like $1,000 on a designer piece that they really cared about making, then I'd rather make it myself. And I think that's how all developed in terms of the creative process of just making clothes, thinking about even designing it. But that's the start. But in terms of like the actual origin of me even wanting to go into fashion in the first place, that was derived from back in like early middle school. And in that time, it was like all I knew at the time was like Supreme, Babe, like Nike, Jordans, all of that stuff. But I didn't really know there was more. There's like an iceberg effect, you know what I mean? Like where you see the top where it's like yeah, Supreme, Nike and stuff like that, and then it's like down, like it was like the Drees, and then even like the avant-garde stuff, obviously, right? And it's just insane. But how that happened too was like in middle school, I used to follow this rapper called Dumbfounded. He's based in LA, in K-Town, and then he started dating this fashion photographer named Christina Pack. Do you know who Christina Pack is?
Yes, I do.
Amazing individual, really talented. And so they dated for a little bit. So I knew because, they were on Instagram, so you could tell they were dating at the time. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then around that same time period is when Virgil launched, I believe it was Pyrex and then Off-White. And I was like, what is all this? I didn't really understand it. And at the same time, I wasn't really too in tune with just pop culture in general. So it was seeing like the rise of, what Kanye was doing at the same time, what, with Pyrex, how like Jay-Z was wearing it too, and like how that developed and all that stuff. And then I, found Hypebeast. I found all these magazines as well that talked about all of these things pop culture related, especially with fashion, streetwear. And I kind of just build my acumen of IQ from that point forward. And that's kind of where it all began in terms of the roots.
Yeah. I like how you mentioned the iceberg effect.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone starts at that point where Supreme and Nike and Jordans are like the pinnacle of like what streetwear is, but then when you deep dive into it, it's like there's way more. So with that, you see a bunch of things, you read a bunch of things. As a founder, like what was kind of like the main inspiration, if you had any?
Ooh, as a founder, in terms of the inspiration for just creating something, it comes down to years of just seeing how things are referenced and things are created. And I think that Ye and Virgil did as cliche as everyone makes it sound, it's true though. They did so much for the community and what art is and the barriers of entry in order to get in, and seeing how they developed their things, but then also seeing how other creators do. I think, we live in a really good time, especially with our generation, right? Gen Z-ish, but like early Gen Z, you know what I mean? Where like we've been able to see social media explode. So we can see what people are wearing in Japan, and we can see what people are wearing in Paris. We can see people wearing, where comparatively before that wasn't really necessarily the case, without having to go to like just bookstores and finding actual fashion magazines that talked about it. You can see it live with creators and people that want to get into fashion. And it's like a whole, social media itself is just a whole melting pot of all of that infused into one. So you can see and reference it all. Mm-hmm. And I found some amazing creators through, Instagram, and I was able to see like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, that's so cool. They're wearing this and this. I've never heard of this brand before. This is so cool. Let me look into it some more. Mm-hmm. what was the what was the original like read of the question? Sorry, I digressed a little bit, but good points though. Good
if
points.
you had like any like inspiration for starting Borglo, what was it? Like anybody in particular or a story, anything that maybe inspired you to start this?
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Gotcha. Great question. Okay. So with the creation of Borglo, I mean, I've always wanted to start something for myself in the very beginning. It's like I think having that drive to become an entrepreneur more than just a 9-to-5 kind of person was always the type of person I've always wanted to be. I grew up in a family that was more entrepreneurship heavy than employeeship heavy. And I was like, what can I do to add value to the marketplace? Because ultimately, with entrepreneurship, you're building either a product or a service, right? So it's like, okay, well, I love the arts, I love fashion. Like, what can I do here to really market in this specific thing? And with other brands, like I'd say that kind of invoke kind of a feeling within what I think Borglo is. I'd say right now it's probably like Art Legacy is doing a really good job in the fashion market. The Row is doing a really good job in the fashion market. And I feel like more of like an upscale luxury, but I feel like maybe not necessarily for me with Borglo at that high point where I don't really want to sell a hoodie for like $1,000. You know what I mean? Like as high as the brand I want it to be and I want it to be elevated, there's a specific price that I want to fit where like I don't want you to break the bank for a really good quality garment, even though with fashion and marketing, like that's just how it is. Like the feeling of luxury comes from a price point that's heavier than normal. Like you could spend like $5 on a really, really good t-shirt and then spend $1,000 on a mid-quality t-shirt. But because of the fact that like someone spent $1,000 on it, you feel better. You feel like, oh, this is more luxury, this is everything. When in reality, that's maybe not the case. Yeah. So with Borglo, it's more like an intersection of finding that luxury point, but also not having to break the bank for it. And there's a lot of things that I'm still developing as like the brand is still brand new. And I think, yeah, man, like those are the kind of the brands that kind of, I think at this point in time, push what I want to develop, but at the same time, I don't want it to be as serious, you know? Okay. Because I think we talked about it before when I was talking about like, dude, we should do this for marketing plans, or like, how can we push something out media-wise? And I was like, like I want it to be a little bit more exciting. That's why I did like the I like T-shirt when I did on my shirt. I said I like shirt because it's like it's not as I don't want it to be as serious either. But like I said, that's the first product. So as we continue to push more things out, things may change.
For sure, 100%. So. Again, you mentioned, the first tees being dropped and how that marketing went. And so what was the process like leading up to the first drop? What was that like?
The biggest thing is it's one thing to like see someone do it and hear about someone do it, but then when you actually do it yourself, everything is like you really experience what they're talking about. Because I feel like it's one thing to just hear, right? So when it came down to doing the t-shirt, initially I wanted to create the t-shirt just for myself. And I couldn't find a t-shirt in the market where it was like literally equal length from pit to pit and then total length. With the sleeves being still like not over exaggerated to where like it looks like I'm proportioned to the body. And I'm a shorter person, like I'm 5'6". So like that's not, you know what I mean? So I wanted to find something that could fit me perfectly as well as like be that perfect box. So that's why I decided to boost and create that shirt. I think when it came down to when it came down to actually going into sampling to production to marketing it out, it was a lot of lessons learned, but also like a whole process. And it really made me understand like, wow, like being a brand owner is not easy whatsoever, because there's a lot of things that go, and I feel like there's also a lot of doubt that goes into that process. When I first, I was so scared to post my first post on Instagram on the page, because I was like, what is this going to do for me? Like, am I really going to be able to market the way I want it to be? Is people going to think like the way I want them to think about the brand? And I think ultimately there was a saying that someone brought up, I think maybe it was Borglo Tee that talked about it. He was like you can market and push the way you want your brand to be seen, but ultimately it's up to the consumers to decide what your brand really is. So at that point, that's why I was like, F it. And then I just posted it, and I continued to kind of like see how I wanted to market it. Sorry, long-winded. I'm answering like really long answers, but to keep it short, it was a journey, man. Like I wasn't, and still is. And it's I wouldn't say it's stressful, but it's more of like there's a lot to think about. does that
dude,
make sense?
It sounds like you're letting off a lot of stress on me, dude.
There's no stress, man. I mean, it could be stressful for some, but I think I guess there is stress to an extent, but it's like when you mix it with something you really care about and you really want to do, it doesn't really feel stressful. It's more of like another roadblock to push over, to hurdle over, right? To you really get to that point where you're successful.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I like how you mentioned, it's Virgil's quote about the consumers kind of deciding.
Could be him. I don't know who it was. I forget.
Or whoever it was. Yeah. Maybe someone pull that up because I gotta find that shit.
Exactly.
But, because of that consumerism and like them deciding what your brand is, what makes Borglo different from others on the market?
Yeah. That's a great question. I think ultimately at the end of the day, it comes down to the marketing. But how I design my pieces, I literally look down to everything, whether that be the material, to the cut, to the usability of it. For me, it's all about, I want you to look good in the clothes, but I don't want you to have to sacrifice how you feel when you wear it. Because I feel like sometimes there are pieces that like look amazing, but dude, they don't like fit comfortably. You know what I mean? And I really want to hit that comfort factor so when I produce these pieces, I'm trying to solve an issue. There's an issue where I'm solving as to why I'm creating it in the first place, right? Like the hoodie that I have right now, which is a sample, or the jeans that I have, it's like the jeans are baggy, but not too baggy, right? And then I've also dropped the rise a little bit so that it makes, like, especially for guys with jeans, like I love wearing jeans, but dude, sometimes the rise be like kind of like short. And it kind of like when I sit down right now, like it'll like go up my paws, it'll like go up my balls, dude. You know what I mean?
You want to let this shit hang.
Exactly. I want it to be comfortable, bro. You know what I mean? And I did like instead of industry standard like 12.5 ounce denim, I did like 11 ounce denim, so that it's a lighter weight, so that it doesn't feel as heavy when you're wearing it around. Like I think about a lot of these things. So for me and my brand, it's all about the usability of it, the comfort, and then the feeling of the luxury with it, because I don't cheap out on materials either. And then at the end of the day, though, it comes down to the marketing side of things, right? Like I could talk about all of this stuff, right, as a marketing tactic, but I think if you're able to create a narrative and something that's more entertaining to the eyes, it develops the brand some more. And that's the direction that I'm taking right now.
For sure. So, with your first drop and releasing that, have you gotten any feedback from the customers, like, or just any criticisms about what you could do next?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have feedback for myself, man. Like, so with the t-shirts themselves, I rushed the process a little bit because it was a really big high when I got my first sample for the t-shirt. I was like, oh my god, dude! I finally designed and I made something for myself, and I was so juiced, dude. So we're working with this manufacturer. I went to a second round of samples and I thought it was going to be good. And I'd say, like, with the t-shirts and the drop and how everything went, 90% of it was good, but the 10% of it I was not happy with. And that thing is shrinking. Initially I communicated with the manufacturer that they were going to pre-shrink the fabric beforehand. And what I should have done is I should have ordered another sample with them where they claimed that they pre-shrunk it. Because now that I have a tag on the t-shirt that says it's pre-shrunk, and when you wash it, it shrinks. Right? So I unintentionally made more of a cropped tee than the tee I initially came to design. But dude, it ended up really well for a lot of people. Like, it still ended up looking good. Like, yours looks good and shrunk a little bit too, right? Mine looks good and shrunk too. But moving forward, I'm gonna make another t-shirt with probably a blend, so that it mitigates the shrinkage, and I can still be the length that I want it to be at initially. But I still think it looks good. That's probably the biggest feedback though. Like, I rushed that, and that I really didn't pay too much attention to really making sure that it wasn't going to happen, because when you put out a piece out, you want them to feel that way. And if they, especially if the contract can say do whatever you want, it's pre-shrunk, and then you shrink it, like, it doesn't look good from the first taste of what the brand could be and what it is. So with a lot of feedback was more of that. If anything, I did get a lot of positive feedback though. Like, people love the fit, people love how it feels. Marco loves my t-shirts. Shout out Under Dweller. I appreciate him, much love. And you like it too, right? I think, and I really value that, but I also value the constructive feedback as well that comes with it. So honestly, the biggest thing that I got from the feedback was more of the fact that it was shrinking, but everything else is great.
So you mentioned you're kind of leading into the next questions for me, dude. And I appreciate that. But like,
it's a conversation, man.
You said feeling, what customers feel. So like, when people buy your products, what do you hope that they feel? Like, what do you want the consumer to feel when they buy your product?
I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to know that you look so good with my stuff on. You know what I mean? Like, I want you to, but the thing is, like, through how I portray the brand and how I market it will determine how you feel about it when you wear the clothes itself, right? Because like it's not obviously with fashion in general, it's not always going to be for everyone. There's always a niche demographic that everyone tailors to because they want to feel that specific way.
Yeah.
And my direction is more of like I want you to be, in a sense, very comfortable in the clothes, but feel like you're wearing something that's luxurious, that's worth it.
For sure.
And I make sure to really with the material that I source to make sure that is the case.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at you right now, and I see.
I'm so cozy right now, dude. It's sunny, but it's not hot.
I see some new pieces that he's wearing.
Sampling. We're still sampling. It's not nothing's finished yet.
Can you tell us maybe about what's next? Like what?
Yeah.
Like what's going on with you right now, man?
Oh, thanks,
You're
man.
making me jealous.
So we do have the jeans. I talked about it a little bit already. So you have a lot of the information on that. With the hoodie, it's like I'm still sampling. This is the second round of samples, but I'm doing like a 500 GSM garment per square meter, 100% French terry. So it's like a heavyweight, but then French terry. Because what I hate about hoodies is that when they use either a blend or a specific like brush cotton, it pills. And like when you first time you wear it, and then if you have a white T-shirt on, like you see all the specs and stuff that go on it. You mean, and then when you wash it too, like sometimes it can get everywhere in the like the washer and dryer. And I wanted something that was like really comfortable but also luxurious. So French terry is typically a really good route to go, and that's what I wanted to create for this hoodie. At the same time with this hood, I opened up sorry, the mic's kind of blocking, but I opened up like where the hood opening starts in the first place. So it makes it really easy to put on, but then also put the hood on like that and like take it off. And then I also designed the hood to make it big enough to where you can put big ass headphones on and not be an issue. You know what I mean? Or when you're sleeping, dude, or you want to nap, dude, like you can like switch it up, layer it, and then put it all away and like go to sleep.
Well, these are real issues.
Like, I think about this stuff because like I love Balenciaga hoodie. Obviously, my name on IG is Balenciaga, but dude, their hoods are like so small, bro. It's so constricting when I put them on. It's like I want to be cozy when I wear it, but at the same time too, like with this fit, it's like the t-shirts. It's also kind of boxy, but slightly cropped, and it's supposed to be just very easy to move around in. Like you don't have to really worry about it. I really want to be the type where it's like it's your kind of go-to hoodie, and you can wear it to the ground. Same with the jeans too. It's like I really want you to feel like I don't really want to put any like super nice outfits on today. Like crazy like especially in the fashion world where you want to put like all these like dope pieces on. I want you to like know that if you're fatigued with doing that, you could just go to Borglo, put it on, and you're good. Like you're straight. It's still good.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the direction I want to be with the brand.
So with the direction, where do you see Borglo in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, dude, that's a great question. Initially when I first started the brand, I was like, man, I want to do runway stuff. I want to do all that stuff. But I thought about it, I was like, no, honestly, probably not. And I think I want to see it as more of a place that you go, I don't really want to say it like this, but I feel like it's the direction that I'm thinking of pulling it to.
Doesn't want to put a label on it yet.
I really don't, but I feel like I want you to be like how like there's Zara, there's Uniqlo.
Yeah.
Like what other brand out there can give you really good quality clothing that people like that in the fashion world, the people that are designing it really care about? Besides like Uniqlo U, like they have that line, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's a lot of like big business brands that really focus on that and give you a decent price point while it's still being under one house label. So I think there's a market segment for that where I kind of want to go in that direction. But I haven't fully mapped it out quite yet. But I think as I'm developing new pieces and seeing how that process works, I think that's probably the direction it's going to be within the next 3 to 5 years. Yeah.
Okay.
And I do want to add, I think the biggest thing for me with this brand is that I can take my time with it because it's not my, it's not my, like, my main income source.
Yeah.
I have a 9 to 5, which I'm grateful for, which gives me the ability to take my time with developing the brand and funding it. And like not having to break the bank and know that like, oh, if I drop these pieces and they don't sell, I'm not gonna have a place to live. You know what I mean? So it's like I have structure in place. Yeah. And I think because of that privilege that I have, I'm able to really take my time with these pieces to ensure that they are better. Besides the t-shirts, because I was just so excited. So I rushed that. I will admit that. Yeah.
You said 9 to 5, dude. I mean, I'm in the same boat as Brandon, you know? So I completely understand where you're coming from and taking time, because this has been a year hiatus for me, you know? So like, I've I completely understand and feel you on that. So
hey, you're hiatus, but you got the whip now, though. You know what I mean? You got the nice ones.
Got the whip. So being in the Bay Area, you know, there's a bunch of just creators out here, but at the same time, it's like it's not like LA. It's not like New York where it's super saturated.
Yeah.
You know, everything's been already done. So as for you, someone in the Bay Area, why did you want to start here in the Bay Area?
Yeah.
Like, compared to anybody anywhere else?
You know, when it comes down to, I think everything with any kind of product or service, it comes down to the basis of building a community around it. And I think there's definitely a community of people here that care about fashion as much as I do. I mean, like you, Marco Ty, all the homies, the Goofy Hoobers, you know, that group of people all kind of care fashion to that way. And it's like, I wouldn't have known about that without building the community up by doing things on social media and stuff like that. And I think to be in the forefront, the Bay Area isn't necessarily known for progressing in a lot of fashion things, besides maybe having like big companies like Gap or Levi's, which have done a lot, definitely for the fashion world. But I think it was a place to market where you could build from and make it better. Where like New York and LA are fairly established when it comes to it.
Yeah.
Dude, there's so many creatives here that want to do so many cool things, but there's no community that's surrounded by it. You know what I mean? Like, and I wanted to be at a place where I can hopefully help people, you know, whether that'd be really cool stores to shop that have been out here for a while, and or people that are creatives that need help from other creatives. Like, I want to be able to be at that point where I can connect others to others, and that's kind of how it all started with the Bay Area for me.
Yeah.
You know, I think, and you can chop it up in any way you want because there's multiple segments of how I built community here, or at least I'm trying to do it. It all kind of started with like in New York, and I went to Fashion Week, I think like in 2022, and it was amazing, dude. The after parties were amazing, the shows were cool, and talking to people was awesome, but I wasn't really doing anything at the time besides just being passionate about fashion. So when I would try to network with people, you find like, oh yeah, it's cool, but like if you don't have any skin in the game, if you're not doing any work within the fashion world, it's the connection point's not really there.
Yeah.
Right. So it's one thing to be passionate and care about. It's one thing to actually do some work to progress it.
Yeah.
And that was a big lesson for me to understand, like, okay, if I really want to establish something in the fashion world, like what skin in the game do I have to do in order to start doing that? And when I got back home, I was like, dude, what can I do at this point to really contribute? And I was like, well, I don't even know where to shop out here for fashion. You know, you go to LA and New York, there's like spots and people can tell you right away. When you go out here, bro, like no one, like not a lot of people know where to go, right? So I was like, dude, okay, like what?
Railed.
Besides Grail online, of course, but I'm talking about like in person, you know what I mean? Like in person shopping experiences that are not necessarily like a Nordstrom or like a Saks, but like big, like actual like mom paws or like, you know, companies that have been here for a while that have these kind of brands that we're looking for that we can't necessarily find. Of course, if it's not on Grill or Essence, right? And dude, there were, man. Like how I found out and how that journey started was I literally went on like my Apple Maps app, and I searched up like sneaker stores, and then I was like, okay, like, you know, Foot Locker, obviously, Chic, obviously, and I was like, oh, Stashed, and I was like, yo, where's this? And I was like, the Dog Patch, interesting. And then, dude, I literally went there, and it was a great store. It unfortunately is closed now. This year, unfortunately, RIP. But when it was there, dude, great build out and everything. And the team there was amazing, and they were very open to like helping me out and understand like what their thoughts were on fashion and, you know, how they see things progressing here. And the manager there, his name is Ant. Ant Thanks. Shout out Ant. Amazing person. He's the one who actually, you know, I asked questions like, where do I go in the Bay to shop? Like fashion, what are your thoughts on fashion? And he put me on to a plethora of places of like where to go. And from that point forward, dude, it was like a wave effect. It was like, okay, cool. So like I started, in terms of like building that community too, it's like, okay, well, if I can find these places of where to shop, how can I share it out? Because I haven't even seen it on social media, like TikTok, Instagram. There's really no places that do that.
Yeah.
So that's what I did, dude. I made a TikTok account, Instagram account, and I just started like filming like shops to where to go in the Bay Area to like really cool fashion things that the fashion homies care about. And dude, it just like kept building on. You know what I'm saying? So I went from Stash, and then I got a big list, and then I kind of just went to store, and I kind of had the same dialogue with every single store owner and kind of broadcasted that kind of information out. And then from that point forward, dude, because of that, I met so many cool new people. I met like Vince from Johnson Leathers, amazing person, extremely talented. Shout out Vince. Then he put me on to Johnson Leathers, and then, eventually it got to the point where, I was seeing other communities built out as well. Like there are there are brands that are from the Bay that are big through social media, like Haven Court, right? Shout out Haven Court. Rotten Closet, which is from Sacramento. Tom Bogo, of course, from Oakland, who's also like LA, New York now centric. But they've done a lot too, and it's the power of social media that kind of pushed them forward. So, just finding these individuals and talk to them, and then when there's functions that take place, inviting everyone and pushing them all together and introducing to one another, to really enhance that. But it's also not just like focusing on people that are passionate; it's focusing on people that are actually doing work too. Because if everyone is doing some work here and communicating with one another, then the cycle of growing the Bay Area for being known as like something for fashion will pop up. But it's not to say that like I think some people find it good that like the Bay doesn't have the same kind of presence as LA or New York has, and at the same time I do kind of appreciate that in some senses. But I think at the same time it's like I really want to put the Bay and what we have on the map for creatives, because we do have a lot of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So with that, you listed some stores. Do you have any favorites? Do you have any favorites that you go to, that you support?
3319 Marche, or Marshy as some people say sometimes. It's an amazing store that's Lakeshore that just opened up, owned by the homie Marco and Ty. Shouts out to them. They're amazing people. I mean, if it wasn't for them, I would have met you. You know what I mean?
I would have met you.
So they're a great store that does really nice like vintage pieces that's well curated, as well as furniture pieces. But then on the second floor, they have like secondhand designer. But the design creation is like what you'd find in LA or New York. You know what I'm saying? And that's very special, especially in Oakland of all places, dude. So that's a really good place to go. And then let's say SF, there's a place called MAC, which means it stands for Modern Appealing Clothing. They've been here since the 1970s, dude, and they have like mainline Comme des Garçons, Dries, Engineered Garments, Needles, like all the big brands that you would see also in LA, New York. They have, dude, and they've been here since the 1970s, and like no one, at least a lot of like people that I talk to, don't know about it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So there's so many spots, dude, that have stuff.
That's what I appreciate about you.
Yeah.
Is that you have your page, AnotherVarsityDesign, where you do promote these locations in the Bay Area that may be unknown or unheard of, for people to come check out. Like, I've been at 3319 and people have came in like, oh, I came in because I saw this TikTok.
Yeah, that was the biggest video I've made out of all the things that I've posted. That was dude, because it had like I think it hit almost 100,000 views total,
dude.
And it's helped a lot, dude. And I love being, to me the goal was like if I can, as long as I can impact one person, that's out here, that's all that mattered to me. And if I think it's shown to be more than just one person, but dude, just putting people on game and promoting what we have here and making it better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So as for you and Borglo, do you see Borglo staying here in the Bay Area, or do you want to branch out? Do you want to be like Tom Bogo and go to New York and LA? Like what do you see?
I think in terms of the HQ or base of the brand, I want to keep it here for sure.
Cool.
But in terms of like networking it out, I don't mind going and traveling to places in order to really push it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I do want people to know that this is going to be a Bay Area brand, and it's going to be specifically, typically. It's like 90% going to be here, probably. Okay, you know what I mean? like it's obviously it's going to involve travel to push it out. But
if you want to get your shit out there, you have to travel. Dude.
But just know that everything in operations should be here. Yes.
Okay. Cool. Well, we are First Place, and we got to ask you some questions about racing and things about cars. So
dude, I drive below the speed limit. I'm a good driver, man. I drive on the left lane on the freeway at like 40 miles an hour and below the speed limit.
So like with growing up, did you play any racing games? And if so, what were some of those games?
Midnight Dub.
Midnight what?
Need for Speed. Midnight Dub. Wait, was it Need for Speed? Oh my gosh. You better cut this out if it's wrong.
I'm not cutting this out, dude.
Midnight Dub. You never heard of Midnight Dub?
It's Midnight Club.
Midnight Club?
Midnight Club Dub Edition.
Dub Edition. There you go. Whatever, dude. Whatever, man. I haven't played it in a minute, okay?
I don't blame you.
Okay. But what I do play now is GTA, and GTA is really good. Fairly good driver dynamics, honestly. Rocket League, dude. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't play Rocket League. But yeah, dude. Midnight Club was the I think that got everything started for me in terms of racing.
Yeah.
It started on the PS2 for me, at least, in terms of when it got really good, and like seeing how you can customize cars, and then of course like not necessarily games, but like movies, like obviously Fast and Furious, right?
Of course.
And all that stuff, and just seeing how cool JDM cars were is always the place that I kind of want to like intersect myself in.
Yeah.
But I think I'm not gonna lie, like as cool as like sports cars are, dude, I'm more of an exotic person.
Okay.
Like people are like, oh, JDM centric here. No, dude, I love exotic cars, man.
So with that,
yeah,
what's your like dream 3-car garage? If you could have the 3 in your garage, what are those 3?
You know, that's that. As of right now, I'd probably say, and just as right now, I can change. But as of right now, I'd probably have as a daily like a 911, Porsche 911 Turbo S.
Okay.
To make it just simple, and then probably a McLaren 765 LT convertible, and then just to say that I have it, because it's hilarious to say, I really want a Lamborghini Urus, so I can say I have a lamb truck. You know what I mean? I always do it. I've always wanted that, and then at the same time, I always wanted to like. The dream was when I get it is to just play, as cheesy as it is, Quavo's Lamb Talk.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. That'll be like a really good like milestone moment for me.
It's funny because I can already imagine you hopping out the lamb truck with the Borglo, full Borglo.
Yeah, extremely ignorant,
like,
bro. Just blasting music extremely loud. But it'll be like a good moment for me. Like that's I've always wanted to kind of do that. But that's probably the 3 for me.
Cool. And you know, you said you want to be cliche, play the lamb truck song, but like when you're driving, is there anything that you do play like to maybe pump you up when you're going to work or for anything?
Yeah, when I'm cutting up in traffic.
Yeah,
safely. Yeah, no, dude. I typically hip hop and R&B has been the best. You know what I mean? So like, I think in terms of hip hop right now, like, dude, I mean, Overcast is a great artist for sure from the Bay as well. Mm-hmm. I'd say. Who else am I bummed to? Of course, Naf the Pharaoh, dude. You can't go wrong with like Bay classics. Larry June, of course. You know what I mean? Of course. And then we got like other. I'm not gonna lie. I listen to like New York, you know, like drill. You know what I'm saying? Or like UK drill as well. It really gets you going, man, when you're trying to like cut up. Yeah, you know what I mean. What Glock 44 Spaz? I think his name is. It really like turns it on. You know what I'm saying? Pause. Yeah. And I think like heavy hitting music like that has the bass. For sure. It definitely has to have bass, dude. Those are probably the music I like to listen to when it comes to that point.
Okay. So, you know, racing is all about finding that balance between speed and control. Yeah. When you're creating art, like, do you feel like you're more of a speedster, or do you take your time when do you feel like you're fucking floor to the pedal, or do you feel like you're 50 miles per hour just cruising when you're in your process?
I'd say because I'm gratefully I'm in a situation where, you know, the brand isn't the ride or die. I mean, like in a sense, like financially ride or die for me. Like, right, like I talked about, if pieces don't sell out, it doesn't affect my status of living. You know what I mean? Yeah. So with that being said, I when I come to designing and creating pieces, I do take my time with it, and I really make sure that like this is something I want to do. Like, I'm not inspired to design every day. You know, I'm not really I have a fire to accomplish and do things I want to accomplish. For sure, yeah. But it's not like I'm not rushing for it, if that makes sense. Yeah. So that's the point that I'm at right now, where I'm like, it's more chill. It's not like, shoot, I got to go. Yeah. But as the brand expands and I do get a team, then of course I feel like there's definitely a purpose and a reason for everything. And then I do need to go. For sure, 1,000%. Because as you're scaling and ramping up a company, dude, the moment I get someone to help or like a team member to help, it's serious. Oh, for sure. And right now, I feel like, going back to the root of the original question, is that right now I'm at a point where, because it's all brand new, the foundation is just being set now. Yeah. And then I think from that point, things will change. So, with you saying that once you start being serious, once you have a team, you're gonna go. Why does Borglo and Brandon, yourself, why do you deserve to be in first place? Yeah, well, first of all, I got here first before you did, so that's first place already. You know what I mean? All right, dude. All right. Okay, dude. I had to add some oil to the whip. All right. No. Okay. But first place in regard to like the First Place magazine, or no? Like, in general, why do you deserve to be on? Like, essentially, when I asked this question, why do you deserve to be on top? Why do you deserve to be number one in what you do? That's a great question. I think when it comes down to being number one in any industry, it's more of like if you can add value to the marketplace. And for me, it's like if I can add value to the marketplace, then that'll make me first. But it doesn't. I don't think I can segment myself out and say like, oh, I'm the best.
Of course.
Because I feel like I'm always going to be a student. I don't think maybe I'll be a teacher here and there, but I'm always going to be a person that learns.
Yeah. It's more so of like having that mentality.
Oh, I see.
Kind of just like no matter what I do, I know that I'm good at it, and like essentially.
I think it comes down for me. It's like finding the life that I want to live. Yeah. And it's like, what do I need to achieve that, right? Yeah, so like if I want a lamb truck, like obviously I have to work harder than most in order to achieve that. And I think it's the drive of finding out that end destination that will get me to the point of being first place. Well, in that mindset, at least.
That's a great answer to end this off. So I just want to say thank you to everyone watching, and thank you to Brandon as well. Camera switch. That camera. Brandon, let the people know what you got going on next. Like, let them know about the socials, all that.
Yeah, what is this? Hot wings? It's called. No, but I'm not dying because I'm not eating any wings. So my tag name for most of my social media is Balenciaga. It's Brandon and then Balenciaga kind of tied together. If you didn't. No. And yeah, dude, I just sometimes on occasions make videos to help promote kind of the Bay Area and the fashion scene that we're in now. And of course make stuff for my own brand as well. And it's kind of all community oriented for the most part. So you can find me on pretty much Instagram is where I'm most active, TikTok as well. And, yeah, dude, that's it. It's just me. I'm just here to contribute. I'm grateful. Honestly, for me to get to this point, if it wasn't for Renee, if it wasn't for a lot of the people that I've met here to help not only encourage me, but to teach me new things, I wouldn't get to the point where I am right now. So although like, yes, I may be leading in some sort of effort with something, it has to do with everyone else. It's not just me. And I'm extremely grateful and blessed for that.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Brandon. Seriously, thank you for being on the platform. This is the first episode back, so I really appriciate you for doing this with me. So.
Oh, wait. Do fit check real quick.
Oh, do a fit check?
What's the fit check? What are you wearing today?
All right, let's see. I'm rocking the Prada American Cups, vintage pair. Okay. Shout out Ty. I bought these from the store. I found these flares at the thrift.
Oh, fire, dude, fire.
Yeah, they're super like fucking faded. So like, I found these.
Levi's?
Nah, there's like some like cheap
brands,
from flares. And of course I got the Borglo on.
Certified.
And I got the A's
of course
fitted, So what about you, man?
Yeah, man, something easy, bro. Something easy, bro. You know what I'm saying? Sheen, I'm just kidding. I got Arteri's beanie. It's basically the Asian Silky. and then and I got some Chrome Hearts frames. And then I got a Borglo sample hoodie, Borglo sample jeans. And I actually got some Rothy loafers that are they're based in the Bay. Super comfortable clogs that are machine washable too. So I've just been rocking it, dude. Really comfortable. Like the brand, very cozy.
Hell yeah. So, we both fitted up for this interview, and we're going to end it with that. Yeah. And Brandon, thank you for stopping by.
Appreciate you, bro.
Being in first place, man.
Thank you.
Look forward to what you do in the future, all right?
Always a privilege, bro.
Yes, sir.
That was a good dab. Oh. Yeah.